So how do you simplify expressions that contain exponents? So here's an example. Let's say we have x squared times x to the third. Now remember, exponents are repeated multiplication. So x squared really just means x multiplied by itself twice. So really it's just x times x. Now times, we have x to the third. And again, repeated multiplication, so x to the third really just means x times x times x, multiplying by itself 3 times. So what do we have here? We have x times x multiplied by another x times x times x. So how do we simplify this? Well, we see that x is actually being multiplied by itself 5 times. So really, this simplifies to be x to the 5. And there you go. We just simplify an expression containing exponents. So let's try another example. So here's another problem with an expression that has exponents. We have x squared times y to the third times x to the fourth times again y to the fifth. Now the best way to simplify something that looks like this is to break them all apart. So for example, x squared can be broken up as x times x times y to the third, which is times y times y times y, times we have x to the fourth, which is x times x times x times x, times y to the fifth, which is y times y times y times y times y. There you go. Now it looks kind of complicated because we broke them all into pieces, but when you simplify them, it looks like this. We have x times x times another x times x times x times x. So altogether, we see that x is being multiplied by itself 6 times. Because we have 2 over here and 4 over there. So altogether, x is being multiplied by itself 6 times. Okay, but what about the y's? Well, we see y is being multiplied by itself here 3 times, times 5 more. So altogether now, we have y to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 3 plus 5, which is really just 8. And there you go. This expression containing exponents can be simplified as x to the 6th times y to the 8th. Let's try another example. Okay, but this time, let's say we have something more complicated like this. X squared times y to the third, but all of them, the quantity is actually being squared. Okay, so the best way again to simplify something that looks like this is to break them all apart into pieces. So remember, exponents means repeated multiplication. So as you can see, there's an outer exponent. The outer exponent says 2. That means the quantity, the entire expression, has to be multiplied by itself, in this case, twice. So let's go ahead and copy that expression twice. And there you go. Now we see x squared times y to the third multiplied by itself again, x squared times y to the third. So again, we can break them all into pieces again to simplify this expression with exponents. So we see that x squared can be broken up into x times x. And same with y to the third, which can be broken up into y times y times y. We can do the exact same thing for the other expression, because it's just copied twice. And there you go. So now what do we have? We see x is being multiplied by itself a grand total of 4 times. So really we have x to the fourth. But now what about the y's? We see y is being multiplied by itself a grand total of 6 times. So really we have y to the 6th. And there you go. This complicated expression with exponents can be simplified as x to the fourth times y to the 6th. Let's try another example. Okay, so here's another expression that contains exponents. And how do we simplify them? The best way is to again break them into pieces. Now, exponents means repeated multiplication, so really this entire expression is multiplied by itself 3 times. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that expression 3 times. And there you go. We copy that expression 3 times because that is what the exponent means. Multiply by itself, in this case, 3 times. Now we can again further break this into pieces. We see 3 times x squared can really just means x times x. And y to the third means y times y times y. Now we're going to do that exact same process for the other 2 expressions. And there you go. Now what do we have? We see all these individual pieces multiplied by each other, so we can go ahead and simplify them. Let's go ahead and deal with the coefficients first, the constants. We see 3 times 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 times 3 is 9 times 3, which is 27. Great. Now we see x times x times x times x times x times x. So altogether, it's x to the 4th. And lastly, for the y's, we see y times 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 y. So altogether, we see y to the 9. And there you go. This expression can be simplified as 27 times x to the 4th times y to the 9th.